Hello, my name is Richard, and if you're one of the few people who are also annoyed by the small graphics bug of the rope, then you have come to the right place. This is my second tutorial, and today I'm finally going to talk about my favorite tool of all the WMD series, the rope. First of all, why haven't you used the rope if you got a jetpack? There are many reasons. First, if you know what you are doing, you are much faster with the rope than with the jetpack. In most schemes are more ropes in your inventory than jetpacks, so you can't spam the jetpack anyways. And third, the rope is just fun to use. If you're still not convinced, here's a direct comparison. This is me flying across the map with a jetpack. I set the game rules to infinite jetpack fuel because I wouldn't even reach the end of the map with a normal jetpack. It took me 40 seconds. This isn't that bad considering the huge distance, but we can get faster. This is me going through the same map with the rope. It wasn't even a perfect run. It took me about 16 seconds. This is more than twice as fast. Before you tell me that this is because of a custom map, in auto-generated maps the difference is even more noticeable, because all you need to fly across the whole thing is a small ledge like this one. When I started learning using the rope a year ago, I didn't even know in what direction this thing is going to shoot. That was until I found the Russian tutorial for Worms Armageddon. It helped me a lot, even if it's about a whole other game. I put it in the description below. But because I know that not everyone can speak Russian, here's my explanation. When you first select the rope, it is similar to most of the other weapons. You can aim down or up and left and right with the arrow keys. With space you can shoot it. But unlike the bazooka or shotgun, you can fire the rope while jumping and falling. Your worm can also turn to the opposite direction when falling, but be sure not to wait for too long, because when fall damage speed is reached, you won't be able to shoot the rope. At this point, spam that F7 key to quick equip the parachute. To make the next steps easier, try to aim at high ledges or the ceiling of a cave. Once your rope hits terrain, try to swing with the left and right arrow key. As you may notice, this is not very fast and it takes ages to reach right angles. But, luckily for us, the rope in this game is hard and cannot deform, and now pair this with the fact that you can change the length of the rope. Because the rope is so stiff, use it to push yourself away and gather some height. This may require some practice. And now swing down to gain some speed. But this is only the normal falling speed. It is not slow, but we want all of the speed we can get. If you shorten the rope in half, you will double your speed. This isn't effective on a long rope, because it takes so much time to reach half of the length. But the shorter the rope gets, the faster it will accelerate, and this goes insane as we go near length of 0. So we need to keep ourselves in the sweet spot, because we want the maximum speed our brain is still capable of handling. To practice this, I created a map which you can download. Try to bounce off this wall onto all the platforms and holes. Gather some speed by increasing and decreasing the rope length, and release your worm under the right angle to shoot them across the map. After you learned the wall bounce, let's look how to move your worm across maps with more complex layouts, where it's not possible anymore to launch yourself with one swing to every place. For this we have to learn to swing, release the rope, and this all as a preparation for the next swing, which we have to initiate mid-air. Remember to always select the parachute as a secondary weapon. This is especially important for beginners, because it is going to save you from fall damage after you did a mistake, or you can use it to stop your worm immediately if you don't want to fly any further. If you shot your rope and released it, you won't see any aim marker like when aiming on the ground. But the direction you are going to shoot at isn't random. Always try to remember the angle in which you released the rope. Now mirror it on the y-axis. If it's bigger than 45 degrees, it is decreased to an angle of 45 degrees. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to move in all the different directions in the perfect map. But it's your job to practice and improvise in a random generated map. So let's start with moving to the left and right. If you have a ceiling above you, this isn't that hard to learn, and you get really fast. Always press up and the direction in which you are going, and all what you have to do is to find the right rhythm of releasing and shooting the rope. I again put a map in the description where you can practice this. It was made by Steam user Shenchigo, and it is great for beginners, because you have much space to rope and it is really diverse in its obstacles. If there isn't any landmass above you, try to bounce off a wall. If there isn't a wall or a ceiling, but a ledge facing away from your planned direction, collect some speed and release the rope a short moment before you reach the highest point. As all the tricks, this needs to be practiced a bit. Now let's talk how to move up. A way to move up that is always possible is just to wall bounce straight up. If you just need a little height, you can also get above your anchor point and push yourself away. This isn't the fastest way, but you also don't have the risk of receiving fall damage. And if you're up there, you can combo into a parachute, or to get the high ground, you can place a girder beneath you. If there are two walls next to each other, you can go for small wall bounces. This doesn't require to be as accurate as if you launch yourself up with only one swing. And one important thing that you should always try to do is not to throw away your speed while changing the movement direction. For example, look how I used the speed that I got from moving to the left to launch myself to the ceiling without stopping at the ledge. Small combos like this will significantly decrease the time you need to reach a certain location. So, how to move downwards? Of course you can tell me, nah Richard, I don't have to do anything for my worm to move downwards. Gravity's doing its job. And yes, you're right, but why waste that precious speed we already gained? So, here's what we do. First we anchor the rope at a little distance before the drop and bounce off the ceiling while still shortening the rope. Right immediately after the bounce, we release the rope and all the speed we gained is still there but redirected downwards. This trick is unforgiving if you miss the timing, so practice it a bit. After you reached our desired height, just combo to the left or right with a wall bounce or grab a ledge. Imagine there is no wall on the right side, then things get even more complicated. Anchor your rope a bit further away and only release the rope after the second bounce. This way we set the next shooting angle to the opposite direction. But because this is so hard to pull off, there's also the possibility of losing our speed we gained while moving to the right, but comboing to the left with a much higher consistency. Instead of anchoring the rope once, we perform a triple tap on space, right in this position. First we release our old rope. The second tap is going to shoot at the same angle we released the rope, but mirrored on the y-axis, and the third tap immediately releases the rope again, so we are now keeping the angle which we had at the start. You can use the triple tap in many other situations. With more practice, you are going to use it without thinking about it. It is really depending on the situation. Just try to improvise and play with the rope. Practice is the key to succeed with the rope, and because of this, most of the time I'm playing on a scheme with infinite ropes and no jetpacks. This way I can practice roping, and other players can still craft jetpacks with banana seeds and enjoy the game. Just two more things before I finish the video. All the tricks I mentioned also applied for the sheep on the rope weapon. The goat is a bit confusing, but still doing great. And the last advice is not to use the beginner rope. This trash is only half of reach of the pro rope, and I don't know how this makes anything more easy. So don't be baited by the name. Bye.